Darcy Young loves to bake dessert. It's become one of her favorite hobbies, especially now that she can eat them.
I have Crohn's disease. I've had it for about a year now. It's a horrible disease. I had pains going down my side. I couldn't walk. I'd have to hold my side, like clasp myself, and it was just horrible. I spent most of my day in the washroom. There's a lot of bleeding, a lot of nausea. You get to the point where you just stop eating because you know the food is what's making you go through all this pain.
Darcy credits the remarkable improvement in her condition to a diet she's been on for just about a year. It's devised to help people heal many digestive disorders.
I felt so much better. This pain that was in my side, it disappeared, and I haven't had it back since I've been on the diet.
For the Crohn's patients, the young people who are being stricken by the hundreds and thousands, within 3 to 4 weeks, 95% of them will be reversed. Their symptoms will go, and they will be fine.
Elaine Gottschall's book outlines a diet that has helped many people with digestive disorders. She found the diet years ago while struggling to help her own daughter deal with ulcerative colitis.
After 3 years of searching and having this child become more debilitated, we found a doctor who sat me down and asked me for the first time, out of 15 that we had seen before, he was the first to say to me, "Mrs. Gottschall, what are you feeding your child?" And when I told him I was trying to get certain foods down him, he said, "We're going to change all that." And indeed he did. And we put her on this diet, and within a short period of time, the symptoms went, and after the first year, she was on her way, and she was fine since.
Elaine, can you describe your diet? What can you eat and what can't you eat?
The diet has all the fruits and vegetables, all the meat, all the eggs, all the natural cheeses. It has legumes, lentils, split peas, beans. It does not have anything made with grain, corn or potatoes. You cannot have the white table sugar or brown sugar. You should use the sweetener honey if you want a sweetener. You don't have to eat honey if you don't want to. You can even have wine on this diet, dry table wine, the zero in it, and if it isn't sweet enough for you, you put a little honey in it. You can have a very good diet with the exception of grains. This diet was devised not to be an either-or. It was devised to be an adjunct to medical care. We've heard for years that medical doctors are not trained in nutritional biochemistry. I've done the work. This is a nutritious diet, nothing bizarre about it. Highly nutritious, well-balanced, and there are doctors now who are beginning to recognize that this should be used along with medical care as an adjunct.
There's a growing number of physicians, both general practitioners and internists and gastroenterologists all around the world who are using Elaine Gottschall's diet or some variation of it.
Dr. Zoltan Rona is a doctor with a specialty in nutrition and preventative medicine. He recommends the Gottschall diet to many of his patients.
Elaine's diet is well documented by hundreds of published medical studies, and the one thing I can say about it for sure is that it's absolutely harmless if you use it as a trial therapy with people that have various bowel disorders, diarrhea or colitis or Crohn's disease or irritable bowel syndrome. A large percentage of these people, in my experience, actually about 80% of them improve. The symptoms may not go completely away, but a large percentage of them, up to about 80%, get enough relief to be able to cut back on medications. And a substantial number, I don't know whether it's 50 to 60% or higher, depending on, to what degree they're following the diet, they are able to get off of all their medications. The diet, as I said, is very well documented, but the big problem is that medical doctors in their training do not get any training in nutrition. So they come out of medical school with the idea that nutrition, or what you eat, has virtually nothing to do with diseases like diarrhea or constipation. And so they just totally ignore that entire area, and as a result of that, they end up prescribing a medication. That's what they've been trained in. So the training is lacking, and if you're lacking the training, you're not about to think about, what a patient is eating or not eating.
According to Dr. Rona, the gut can be potentially cured if Gottschall's diet is strictly followed.
What you're doing is you are preventing inflammation from occurring, because the theory that she has is that when you eat things like starches or when you drink milk, what this produces is a local inflammation in the gastrointestinal tract. And when you're chronically putting these foods into your gastrointestinal tract, you're always going to be reacting to those foods. Your gut is always going to be reacting to them. So suddenly you withdraw all of these foods. What this does, in essence, is give the bowel a rest, and it allows the bowel to heal. And by so doing, the inflammation and the swelling goes down. So obviously, a lot of the symptoms will get better. The longer you do this, the more likely it is for the bowel to heal.
You should stay on it at least 1 year after your last symptom goes away. When the blood disappears, all the symptoms have disappeared, then stay on it just for good measure for 1 year, and then you can start introducing one food at a time. Each week you add either a potato. Don't mix up the foods. Stay with one food, and each week introduce a food, and don't mix them up. If you add potato this week, you do not add bread.
Just like with the baby.
And in other words, you determine what your particular idiosyncrasies are. Everyone is different.
Hillary Rowland and her daughter Susan Plummer put up with digestive problems for years. Then they tried the Gottschall diet. Now they're hooked.
Well, I think the diet has helped me. I think in the first place it's made me healthy. I think it's made my bowels healthy. And I think because I'm digesting food completely, there aren't any toxins left over. And I'm sure it's the undigested foods that cause the problems. I was having headaches. I was having diarrhea, or else I wasn't having constipation. It was either one or the other. And I had just dealt with this because I thought it was normal for me. I didn't think it was making me ill, but it must have been. I feel really good now.
My biggest problem is that my bowels aren't functioning properly. I had chronic constipation. And although the diet doesn't say it is for constipation, I thought if all it does is make the bowels healthy and make them work properly, that it should help me. And it cleared it up within days.
One of the advantages of the diet is that it normalizes weight. Susan had been trying to lose weight for years. She weighed 65 pounds more before the diet. Hillary also had a significant weight loss.
The weight loss is just a bonus. People say, how did you lose weight? And I say, by accident. I'm finally eating the right food. My body is accepting the right food, using it, and getting back to normal. And that's what happens.
One of the reasons that digestive disorders are so prevalent and increasingly getting worse is because we're not necessarily eating the right kind of food.
Never in the history of the world, or certainly as long as I've been living, which is a long time, have I seen the kind of diets that our kids are growing up on. You walk into any high school cafeteria and you see children who are eating French fries, ketchup, and drinking pop, and they are addicted to it. There isn't a vitamin, there isn't a mineral. It is nothing but starch. You hear fat, 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 fat. What they're eating is sugar and starch. 98% of what they're eating, and it's refined and processed starch. So therefore, no immune system can be built on empty calorie food. Our grandmothers, kindergarten children, used to know what empty calorie food is. Our kids are living on it.
We've sort of been growing up with the idea that many of these foods like milk and breads and cookies and all of these kind of foods are really harmless. And, you know, they're advertised on television all the time. And, you know, a large percentage of the population is consuming these things. And no one has ever said that these things are going to be harmful to you. So we never give it a second thought. And I think a lot of it is, you know, our faulty education system in letting us know that there are some people that are sensitive to these foods, and they should be very, very careful. Otherwise, they'll end up with a chronic inflammatory bowel disorder.
Even though the diet was designed to treat digestive disorders, recently there have been some remarkable accounts of how other diseases are affected by it.
The most exciting part of all this work is that the digestive system appears to be the root of so many other problems. My book has a chapter on the brain because I saw children with diarrhea and epilepsy get better. The epilepsy would go before the diarrhea cleared up. People with skin disorders would get better. People have written to me that for years they struggled and couldn't lower their blood pressure. They couldn't lose weight. And they went on this diet and ingested more calories than they ever did, and their weight returned to their ideal weight. Their blood pressure returned to normal. Their skin cleared up. I've had 2 cases of lupus clear up because lupus is an autoimmune disorder, and the latest work on arthritis is that it's starting in the gut. So there is a connection between all these immune problems and what is happening in the gut. And this is the most exciting part of it.
The reason why so many conditions like eczema, schizophrenia, arthritis, and other different types of diseases, bronchial asthma, bronchitis, etc., why they're responding to this diet is very simple. The commonest cause of, or the commonest sources of hidden or unsuspected food allergies in the North American diet are basically milk and dairy products and wheat and grains. And her diet basically tells you to eliminate those things. So a lot of people that didn't realize that they were allergic to those particular foods, suddenly all those foods are gone from their diets. And as a result of that, the inflammation that those particular foods may be stimulating in the body also disappear. And so you get things like eczema clearing up, and you get mental illness clearing up, and arthritis clearing up, and so on.
There's no doubt in the mind of Darcy Young that this diet has profoundly improved her health. Now she'd like to see the medical profession consider this diet more seriously.
I think the doctors are too medically minded almost. They think too much medicine. They think that medicine can cure. And I think the doctors should start saying that, okay, maybe medicine isn't what we need right now. We don't know enough about this disease to say that medicine isn't going to cure it. It's going to cover it up. It's going to cover up what's really going wrong. And they need to have the diet as a choice. And maybe this diet will cure. They just aren't giving it a chance.
We keep hearing that we have to find a cure for something. Everybody believes that we should find a cure. The fact is that if you do find a cure, it's rather obscene, it appears. So I tell people that, yes, they are going to get rid of their symptoms and they're going to be well, in great probability that they will, many of them, get well, most of them, in fact, and that they're just not risking very much. They're just changing their diet and they're getting their lives back.
Well, it's a political problem. It's not a scientific one. I think that every doctor that will come on and say that Elaine's book is unscientific doesn't know what they're talking about, simply because the scientific research behind this is enormous. There's no question that this is scientific. The real problem that these doctors have is in the area of politics. It has nothing to do with science. They'll come on and say it's science, but that's a lot of nonsense, and they know it. Because if you really investigated the scientific literature, you'll find that there's tons of evidence for using her diet, you know. So I don't buy this thing about it being unscientific. It's entirely a political argument.
I'm hoping this diet cures me. It's hard to tell. I'd like to stay on it for a few more years and start introducing new foods or old foods that I've been off of for a while. But I'm hoping it cures. I mean, I think it has the potential. There has been people it has cured, and I'm hoping I get to be one of those people.